Welcome back to Forza Naples. I'm Ian, that's Paul, and a special guest joining us today, my dad, Rob. How's everybody doing after a 1-1 draw against Greenville on a rainy night in Clemson?
Rob, I'll let you take that one.
I am doing great. Really enjoyed the away day at Clemson, and I'm doing fantastic being up here in the mountains in Western North Carolina.
Yeah, I'm sitting good with the 1-1 draw. I think the boys did what they needed to do. Obviously, we would have liked to come away with three, but going on the road and taking a point, as you always say, keep picking up points. That's what they did. Um, and get a chance to come back for a big day Saturday.
Yeah, a pretty big point. I thought it was well deserved by the team. Definitely seemed to be kind of getting to that point of the season where it's a lot more of a grind. And we got through it, which was huge. My dad and I were actually lucky enough. We're up here just outside of Asheville on a family vacation. For about every 2 years, we try to take a fun family vacation, all of us. So this year was to Asheville, and then I think we mentioned it in the last episode. Looking it up, we saw Greenville was about an hour away. Well, the game actually ended up being played in Clemson, so we did a little away day trip, the first ever ForzaNaples away day trip. My dad, my brother, and I all got in our Chrysler Pacifica rental van and drove down to Clemson, South Carolina, where we were ready to go, had a couple beers, got some all-inclusive seats. So it was all you can eat and drink. It was great. We were really excited. And then a siren went off. 2-hour rain delay ensued. So we were back chilling in the van for about 2 hours. We did get some cookout, which if any of you listening have ever had the pleasure of having cookout, big thing here in the Carolinas. Delicious. Chicken quesadillas, Cajun fries, chocolate milkshakes. Can't go wrong.
So Ian, after trying that cookout, does that move to number one on your list of fast food?
It's different because you can't get it every day.
Okay.
So I can't put it on my all-time top fast food rankings, but I gotta say it's up there. And anytime I'm here in Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina, you gotta stop at Cookout. It's a must do tourist attraction.
Yeah, I was worried for you guys. I was fully convinced that you're going to be able to convince the boys to hop in the car. Did you have to lie to them about the distance that they were going to travel, or did they know from the start that they were driving 2 hours?
I did share it with them on Friday that we would be driving it was about 2 hours and 15 minutes door to door through some small towns in South Carolina. Some really cool towns in South Carolina. I think we passed a total of 2 stoplights, and we weren't on the interstate for much of the drive. So that kind of paints the picture of where we were driving through in South Carolina, but I definitely 100% would do it again.
Did you guys check the weather before making the trip, or were you just was that not even a thought?
Yes. So this is a funny story too, and I'll let my dad tell more of it. Well, before we left, I checked the weather and said, it's not going to rain. And then he said, well, I'm going to bring my raincoat just in case. And my brother did as well. And thank goodness he grabbed an extra one for me and didn't let me be so stubborn as to get absolutely soaked. So we did have 3 raincoats because as we were pulling up, we could see kind of the storm clouds forming. And it was a lot like Florida where the rain just kind of seemed to come out of nowhere. And right at 7 o'clock, it started raining.
So, yeah, I did check the weather. They're pretty good before we left and saw this storm front that would be coming into Clemson, not Greenville. And as we made the trip down, kept checking the radar. Ian was gracious enough to drive down. And then I said, well, then they could have a few beers and I would drive back, thinking we'd be back, hey, 11 o'clock, 11:30, no problem. But I did say, yeah, well, I'm just going to bring an extra raincoat just in case. So we did have enough raincoats for everybody, and I'm going to say they were needed.
Yeah, I was worried for you guys. I called you after my round of golf. I was driving home and didn't see the game on ESPN, so I was a little concerned what was going on. So I'm glad you guys got to see the boys play. How would you guys rate the away day?
The Clemson Stadium was awesome. Historic Riggs Field. It used to be the football stadium forever, and then was the baseball stadium at one point, and then has been the soccer stadium since the 50s. So, I mean, so much soccer history there, especially college soccer. It would look to be in really good shape, except for the goal mouths. Um, just a really cool historic feel to it. And Clemson as a town was, your classic college town of right. I mean, a block away was Main Street. There was a gas station right across the street where we were in the rain delay. My brother and I ran in. We grabbed a couple beers. I think it was $1.20 for a Mick Ultra in a bottle, which you can't get that at a gas station at home, right? And then they also had some sort of Four Loco pregame thing that we picked up.
Yeah,
Would
sounds like
not
your brother.
recommend that.
Yep,
Yeah, that was all
sounds
my
like something
brother.
no one would enjoy.
But yeah,
I had a Diet Coke. I just want to say I was driving back, so I had the Diet Coke.
Good. The responsible parent never ends. Doesn't matter how old the kids are. Always got to be the responsible dad.
And then knew we were going to have like this rain delay, but didn't think it was going to be quite 2 hours. And then, okay, great. But I will say, never been to Cookout before. Ian said, "Well, we're just going to swing through Cookout." Okay, but it did not disappoint. Very highly rated. If you've not been, you get a chance to go. Go. It is worth it. Get a milkshake. They are amazing.
Cook out the next sponsorship we need to acquire. Yeah, there's nothing like ordering a cheeseburger with a side of a chicken quesadilla. I mean, I just don't know where else you can get that besides my own home. So,
exactly. And my brother did say, and he meant it as a compliment. And any longtime Naples soccer people listening will know what he means by this. He said after eating the burger, it reminds me of the cheeseburgers I used to get at Optimus Soccer on Saturdays at Vineyards Park, which was a big compliment because we loved those burgers. I mean, those burgers were the best off the grill. So that was how he compared it to his comparison of the Cookout burger. So he was a big fan as well.
So your night ends up. So kickoff ends up being what, around 9 o'clock local time.
Yeah, 9 o'clock kickoff here in the Eastern time zone. Got home a little late, but well worth it. Like we said, a big point on the road. Happy to take it. Team overall played, I thought, well. A couple big. We dealt with all of their big chances as much as we could, and then just really, really limited them. And we didn't really have a lot going forward, but I think that was okay based off of how they had lined up with five at the back.
Yeah, and the opening goal was very much kind of how you would expect us to get those goals. The long ball forward, played into the box, Henderlong capitalizes. I would say for me, the biggest concern, and this is the cool part about watching the game, is hearing some of the commentary and the in-depth stats. I think we've both felt it at times that our closing out of halves have not been good. Closing out the first half has not been our strong suit, and getting put on blast by the ESPN commentators that we are the worst team in the league when it comes to conceding goals in the final 15 minutes was kind of a confirmation stat to kind of how we were how I felt we've done. So they kind of spoke it into existence. Their equalizer in the first half, saying Greenville led the league in last 15-minute goals, and we lead the league in concessions. So kind of almost felt like it was destiny that they were going to get the equalizer late. From the stands, what did you guys make of that first half?
Yeah, I mean, right from when we saw the team sheet come out and we saw Kevin O'Connor at left back, I think we were all kind of a little taken aback, trying to figure out what he was doing there. Because we know Evans, Dangler, Cisneros have been so solid all year back there, but then to see O'Connor at left back, we were all kind of like, what the heck is he doing? And to his credit, I thought he did really well. You could tell he wasn't exactly comfortable, and you could also tell Greenville knew he wasn't going to be comfortable as a natural left back and was targeting our left side, their right side all night long. That was clear in the first half there. Um, so seeing that change and then kind of going to that 4-1-4-1 formation, it looked like. I thought we did well, and I thought Greenville knew our style of play, and they went to almost they played five guys at the back, with Evans and Polak at the back. And I do have to give a shout out to Tyler Polak. I hate shouting out the opposing team, but Tyler Polak, number 3 for Greenville, was all over the pitch all night long. And he's 33 years old, kind of a long-time Greenville Triumph player, all over the pitch. A great shift by him. But yeah, seeing that they had dropped 5 at the back, I think they were trying to take away us playing down the wings as much as we like to do. Which after our goal we used Fareen's pace down our right side, their left side, which was their weaker side. He was able to whip it in and header along with as cool as you like a finish, to make it 1-1 or make it 1-0 at that time. And then from there, they kind of figured us out almost and didn't let us. They sat back further off of us and just said, okay, you guys are going to have to dribble the ball around us, which we kind of struggled to do from that point on. Dad, did you have any other takeaways from the first half?
I think the first 20 minutes kind of showed like we were the dominant team, and we kind of got settled in, and then they just kind of adjusted. They got the 5 at the back settled in, gave us that first 20 minutes, and then they really started to impose themselves on the game. It was great being there with the boys. You could just the field was. I mean, it was a rainy Saturday night in Clemson, but it was great. What an away day! But they just kind of got a feel for what we were trying to do, settled into it, and just kind of stopped it. Once we got that first goal, they just kind of set in and just like, if that's what you're going to do, then you're going to have to figure out another way around us. And it was really interesting to see the game play out that way. Um, just sitting there watching what they were trying to do, what we were trying to do as we trying to play through them, and it didn't come easy after that. And then they really started to have an influence on the game. But I will say it was a mistake that we made that led to their goal. And I don't know if we didn't make that mistake, were they gonna capitalize on anything in the first half? I think that we had figured them out at the back and kind of locked them down. Their chances were there, but they weren't good at finishing them. So we just kind of sat in and like, if you're going to do it, then do it from range. And just proud of what the boys put together to defend that, and they covered a lot of ground. And a 2-hour rain delay for them as well. You know, it all adds up. But a really good night. But I really enjoyed the first half because it was two teams trying to figure each other out. We had clearly figured them out and got the break, and then they just sorted themselves out, and then they came back at us, and then we had to defend really well.
Yeah, outside of their only goal, I think the biggest they had plenty of chances, but everything seemed to be so far, like they couldn't put the ball in the ocean standing on the beach, so to say, with some of their shots they had from range. But the other big chance they had was the one that O'Connor actually headed right off the line, which was a great save by him. It looked like it's going in. I think everyone in the stands was ready to celebrate, and he's there and heads it away, and we clear the ball and we keep going. So yeah, outside of that one mistake at the back, that silly turnover, then they catch us in transition, and you can't give Leo Castro, who's their best striker, that much space. He's going to punish you, and that was the only time we did, and he punished us.
Yeah, and as journalists with the utmost integrity, we're just going to gloss over the two handballs that really allowed it to stay 1-1. I didn't think the first one, even on the replay, I think it would have been harsh to give. I didn't notice the second one, Ian, but that one seemed to be more blatant to you. On the broadcast, the first one, to me, wasn't a handball. I thought his hand was by his side. But again, you get the live look and then you get the one crappy angle for the replay. So hard to tell. I think it would have been harsh. But your thoughts on the second one? Were you able to find a replay of that?
No, I haven't found a good replay of it. And again, we're working with, a one camera angle that's kind of far away. Second one live, just based on the reaction of the players, seemed to be a handball, right? Like when every single player on the pitch is like, oh my gosh, that's a handball. And then watching, I want to say it was Dangler kind of like then put both of his hands behind his back as he keeps running, like, probably a handball. Again, we're also looking across the pitch, and a referee and assistant referee probably had the best look at it. But we did have another friend of the show that was watching that texted us and said, yeah, the second one was worse than the first one. But hey, if it's not called a handball, then it's not a handball. So 1-1, we get the point. And who knows, maybe Delgado could have saved it easily if it was given a penalty. Ball don't lie, no penalty, we play on.
I will say the referee was very quick on both of them to say no penalty. I mean, he didn't wait around. There was a lot of shouts for the PK, but he waved it off immediately and just got on with the game. So I don't know if he had a blocked view, but the AR on our side certainly did not have a blocked view. I think he had a good view of it. He didn't signal for it. So in my world and doing this for a lot of years, I think if they're not going to give it right there, and they're play on, let's go. So I would have been disappointed if it was the other way round, but you got to go with what the ref's going to give you on the field.
It was a lot of fun. We could, after the 2 hour rain delay, the fans all kind of seemed to go home because we kicked off at 9:00. So it was fun. You could hear all the players' conversations, including the conversations with the referee, which I did feel bad because then us included, as well as all the Greenville fans, started to give the referee some more flack because they could hear what he was telling the players on the field, which did make things that much more entertaining. I think my brother at one point called it like, oh, this is like watching a game during COVID. So, got to call out the Greenville fans. Every single Greenville fan that we met there was super friendly. Great crowd, but the atmosphere within the stadium was not very great after a 2 hour rain delay.
Well, it's probably the combination of that and the extra hour drive. You mix those two, and I don't know how often they play at Clemson or how embedded into the community they are. They have a normal home. I don't know what their situation, why they're playing there. But to get up and go, drive an hour and 15 minutes from Greenville, week in, week out, would probably be hard to build a loyal fan base. Coming from the guy that frequently drives an hour and a half to the FC Naples games, it is taxing. If you're going to drive an hour and a half every single week, not everybody's as dedicated as I am to their teams.
It seemed like this was a one-off game where they do it once a year at Clemson, and it was a cool thing to be a part of, cool thing to see. Really cool stadium, really cool field. The Clemson football team, I think, was doing some sort of NIL or recruiting thing at one point because all of a sudden you could see off in the distance, not that far was the football stadium with Death Valley. And it was all the purple and orange lights and music and sound. And meanwhile, we've got a soccer game going on. That was at like 10:30, which was really cool to see, but still had no idea what it was other than some sort of football thing.
So you said you got all-inclusive food and drink. Was that alcoholic beverages or just?
It did. It included beer.
I need more information.
So we did learn South Carolina and North Carolina have some weird liquor laws. So you can't buy high noons at a gas station. You got to go to the liquor store for that. So it was all-inclusive beer, wine, soda, and food. They had just set up all the food when the lightning alarm went off, and then they didn't really set up all of the food coming out of the rain delay. So it was just like a platter of cookies and brownies. They did have really good sweet tea. Yeah.
Right up your alley.
Oh, I was all in for it. And then I did think it was interesting because they had both Michelob Ultra and Coors Light, which are two separate beer companies. Those were the two beer options. And then as well as some wine that we did not partake in. It was just Mich Ultras for us. But
Yeah, you
yeah,
gotta stay
us.
loyal. Got to stay loyal to our first hopeful sponsor,
Yes.
McUltra. Still going to beat that drum until they pay us money to do this for a living. Um, Rob, how would you compare it to that experience to what you get in week out at Naples at Paradise Sports
Well,
Complex? Obviously, very different, but
I was still on the Diet Cokes at this point, so we're good there. But yeah, because somebody's got to drive home the rest of the crowd, so that was me. And I would say, a completely different experience. You could feel the history of the place, um, and that really stood out, and I really enjoyed it. But there's nothing quite like the beer garden at Paradise Coast. I mean, you're 25 steps away from an FC Naples blonde, and that says a lot. And typically, I can get somebody to drive me home from those games, so that was pretty good. But really enjoyed the away day with the boys to go see the boys, and just proud of what we were able to go do, and then adding in the extra drive through some really backcountry roads in South Carolina, but there is no direct route to Clemson from Asheville. But we got there. We sat out the rain delay, and yeah, it was great. We had to have some cookies and a few Diet Cokes to wash it all down with, and then cook out for the ride home, knowing we'd got the point secured. I will say the whole team put in an absolute shift in the second half. They were clearly riding that wave after scoring that anytime you can see the goal before halftime, it's going to make it interesting start to the second half. They came out blazing and wanted to get that next goal. And I think the whole team put in a shift. And along back and on defending the free kicks to corners, he would just come sprinting back into the box, and that's maybe some of that stuff you don't see from the TV coverage. He just comes back in. He knows he's got to be back there to help. And I mean, there was times when both Ian, Owen, and myself all said, we've got 11 players in our own box defending this, and they knew they had to dig in deep. That Greenville were the better team, so it was really interesting to see that they were all there, and then break out of it, and have that energy again to get up the field to take that break on. And there was a few times that it nearly worked. So I seeing them on an away day, and then seeing the liking to my hometown Nottingham Forest and how they play and how FC Naples play on the ride home, we had a good discussion about how both teams are very similar, and how they work together. So kudos to FC Naples, and what they were able to do, getting a point away from home after a 2 hour rain delay, rain still falling late, coming out from that. I think it will, that's a point at the end of the season we can look back and say, but we were here with that extra point, and that's that night you got that extra point. So yeah, I'm proud of the boys, proud of the team, and a big shout out to them to come over to the three fans, Ian, Owen, and myself at the end of the game. Every one of those players came over and shook our hands at the end of the game, and just wanted to know a little bit more of why we were there, which was really funny. So we kind of gave them a quick briefing on why we were there and how we got there. And to their surprise, they're like, "Wait, you drove here?" Yeah, yeah, we actually drove from Asheville here. Yeah, 2 hours and 30 minutes. It was a lot of fun, but would do it again in a heartbeat. It was great.
yeah, it's Rob. Hearing you talk, it's great because you're really seeing in a lot of things you said that the apple doesn't fall far from the tree between the FC Naples Blondes, the Forest talk. Uh, you fit right in. The apple doesn't fall from the tree there. Um, but here you guys found a new friend of the show while you were talking some of the guys post game?
Yeah, we're pretty sure. So we did make some Forza Naples merch um, that we're gonna work on getting made available. So we're wearing it, and then a couple of the players are like, "That's a pretty cool hat. Where'd you get it?" With the Forza Naples logo on it. So players or anyone, if you want a hat, get in touch with us on Instagram or via email or Bluesky. We can hook you up,
How
or we'll
many
try to
players do
hook
you
you up.
think? How many players do you think have a Blue Sky account?
Probably none because I just discovered this Blue Sky
Yeah.
thanks to a couple other USL League One podcasters who asked if I was on Blue Sky, so I made a Blue Sky account. But it's a up and coming replacement for Twitter, I guess.
Mm. Yeah, you give it a shout out every week, and I've still yet to ever log or create an account on Blue Sky. Um, but that. It's awesome that you guys got that experience, and awesome to see the guys come up to you guys post game. And it really goes back to kind of what we've talked about, the way this club's been built, been laid out, designed, however you want to call it. Being a part of the community and taking the time. Like you said, they have a 2 hour rain delay. They're on the road, ready to get home. They're wet, they're sweaty, and to take time to come talk to the supporters, not knowing who you are, and just talking to you guys is awesome, and
Yeah,
totally on brand with what the club wants to be. So great to
yeah,
see that even away from home that they're still in touch with the community here.
yeah. Every single player, the entire coaching staff, and then even the athletic trainers as well, all coming over, and it was fun to tell them like, yeah, we're on vacation in Asheville, and we thought we'd come down. They're like, you're on vacation? Why would you come to see? Like, no, we wouldn't miss it. Are you kidding? Away day of the year. I can't wait for the next one now.
And that's kind of like the cool thing about the South Florida, Southwest Florida specific. I mean, people are like that with the Blades too. They really, with the lack of, top level sports teams, that we have no MLB, NBA, NFL. We don't have those teams. So team, the fans that have been here for a long time can really dive fully in supporting the local teams, regardless of what level they're playing at. And obviously, hopefully, we're sitting here in 3 to 5 years talking about being in the top flight of American football um, when we get there. Um, before we talk Red Wolves, and I think everybody's tuning in today to hear about what we anticipate Saturday night being. Got to ask Rob, listening to Ian talk about your email address and asking if he should send it to Rob Loves Dirt or Rob Loves Soccer. And just want to know which email got created first. I imagine you were into soccer before you were into dirt, but just want some history on how that those two emails came to light.
So, being really old and well before emails, I needed an email address for work and being in excavation and dirt moving. So my wife said, Rob Diggs Dirt is the email for you. And when the first email went out, I think I was second on the list of sending an email out. And it's Rob Diggs Dirt. So Rob Diggs Dirt pays the bills, and then so that one's got to be my favorite. But then Rob Diggs Soccer. It couldn't be football because that would just get a little confusing. So we went with the soccer. So Rob Diggs Soccer is my personal. So yeah, it's the dirt pays the bills, but the soccer's the passion that shines through. Um, and yeah, no, it's great to have Ian and Owen following in the footsteps, and like you said, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. So I'm pretty proud of that. And to say that we've now been to a FC Naples away day in Clemson versus Greenville is pretty special, and I can't wait till we come up with next season's where are we going? Like, let's make this a yearly thing and end up going somewhere where we don't expect to be. But it was great, and I will say we don't do many family vacations where we don't go visit a soccer stadium, and that could be European-based family vacation, Northwest. um, in the Northwest, Seattle area. We somehow managed to get ourselves to some remote soccer stadium. Mallorca comes to mind off of a cruise when we said, huh, Mallorca play here? Let's get a taxi to the Mallorca stadium. And we ended up getting a taxi driver who had season tickets, who knew the security guard, who actually got us on the field. It was off season, but we did get to the Mallorca on the field. We've also been on the Napoli field in off season, same way. Bribe a security guard to get us in, and kind of gave us a free run of the place for about an hour, and it was pretty crazy. So this is kind of right up there with it. So family vacation, soccer, let's get an away day out of it. It's fantastic.
I'm going to throw AV Alta out there for next year. That would be the easiest one for me to join. So if AV Alta piques your interest, I could be convinced to make the drive down from San Fran.
So I was going to ask where AV Alta is located. So okay, somewhere south of San Fran. Okay, got
It's
it.
very south. It's what's 2 hour outside of LA?
Yeah, we think it's just outside of LA. None of us are really sure where AV Alta or Texoma actually are, but that's where we're told they are. We're
Yeah, we
also
played
not sure if those
Texoma, and I
places exist.
still don't know where Texoma is, and we played them. So I wasn't on the team plane. I'm not convinced that's a real place. So we'll have to ask one of the guys when they get onto the podcast if Texoma is in fact a real place.
I will say this before we move on. The merch is the Forza Naples merch is legit. It's good stuff. I've been wearing a hat and a quarter zip for a lot of the time up here in the North Carolina mountains, and yeah, no, it's comfortable, and yeah, so will say that I've been very happy with the product, and I'm just going to shout out to Adidas, who did supply us nothing, but we have all Adidas hats and Adidas sweatshirts. But there's another sponsorship opportunity for Adidas. I think they're looking for more opportunity in USL, so I think Adidas could be there, and Diet Coke. So I want to show up those two opportunities, Diet Coke and Adidas, to get on board with the Forza Naples podcast. I think they're missing out on a huge opportunity for both those companies.
Yeah, I really think that we would be sponsoring us would be very beneficial to companies like Coke and Adidas. I just don't know why they wouldn't be jumping at the bit to sponsor us. I just don't. It'd be a great business decision for them. As your guys' family road trip coming to an end here just in time, I'm guessing that wasn't by accident. That you guys will be back in South Florida for Saturday's match.
I will be. I believe my dad is. They're going to stay until Sunday, so they will be watching it on ESPN Plus on Saturday night up here in North Carolina. It's going to be a good one with FC Naples against Chattanooga Red Wolves, round 3. Just like Ali Frazier going 3 times, going to be the end of a rivalry here. Maybe we'll see each other again in the playoffs, but I'm really excited for this one.
Have you found a babysitter for Thomas yet? Or is he going to also make the trip to?
He might be coming with us to this game, and I am. It's a put the kids to bed early kind of game, and I'm a little nervous for what he might see out on this field, for all of the gore and guts that may be spilled in this rivalry, especially with how the last game ended. I think this is going to be a big chance for us to respond. Coming home, only home game in the month of June, I believe. It's a real big opportunity for us to show what we can do. And Chattanooga's gotten hot lately. Since they beat us, actually, they've been unbeaten. They beat South Georgia Tormenta on the road. They beat tied Forward Madison 1-1 at home in the Cup, but then knocked them off on penalties. And then they just beat Portland Hearts of Pine 2-1. So they seem to have kind of found their stride heading into this portion of the season. So it's going to be a tough match for us. And given all the rivalry and tension carrying over from the last game, who who really knows what's going to come of this one?
Yeah, it built in game one, kind of a fitting that our rival is who we played first. I think it's safe to say that these two teams do not like each other, and I'm guessing that the boys watched some Everblades hockey before they played them both times because both games ended. I think the second one ended in more of a brawl, but the first one ended in a very chippy fashion. I forget who picked up the red card for them going after Delgado, and some pushing and shoving post game. And then obviously, so they get the red card there, and then four total red cards um, at the end of the last game, which for the fans that are kind of all the games starting to blend together, that was the mud pit fest where the ball didn't go anywhere. Um, and resulted in a 3-1 loss for us. Albeit the last one was kind of a cheap, it's easy to say that should have been a 2-1, right? Delgado, I believe, was all the way up and they countered
Yeah,
and ended up putting it into an empty net. Um, two real hard fought games. The first one, we get the inaugural goal, PK. Um, yeah. So Ian, what are you looking forward to? What do we need to see? We've seen them twice. What have we learned playing these guys?
it's it's hard because both games you kind of have to take with a grain of salt. The first game that we played against these guys, it was our first ever game as a club. You could tell everyone was still trying to bet in. We had kind of the concept of what we wanted to do against them, and we weren't able to fully execute it. We did get the penalty. We had a couple of good chances, I thought, in that first game, but again, that was our first ever competitive match as a team. And it was the same for them, right? With how much turnover we see in this league year over year. And then the second game, you come out and it's a glorified water polo match being played on a waterlogged pitch. It's hard to kind of get anything from that. It seemed like both teams didn't really want to be there. It was just a nasty, no fun sort of game at noon on a Wednesday. Um, just not fun. But to see, Onan rip one from long range, I'd love to see that happen again. They seem to kind of really like to work the ball within our box and make, short passes to try and find a guy that's got a clear look at goal. So we just have to, get back to our defensive ways like we kind of did against Greenville and shut that down, not give them any room within the box and, close them out like we did in the first game. We've seen it took a wonder goal to beat us in that game. Let's make them say, hey, if you guys want to beat us, you're going to have to beat us from range, like we did against Greenville, like we've done, so many times this season. Just 4 shots from range, and if they're able to bang it in top corner and no keeper in the world can save it, then okay, you deserved it. Um, but I really also want to see Henderlong try and get on the score sheet against these guys. He hasn't gotten a goal against them yet. This is his third opportunity, and I think he's due. So excited to see him hopefully get on the score sheet in against Chattanooga this time.
Rob, what are your thoughts? You've been Sox fan the longest here. What are you expecting to see Saturday night?
So being there at the first game and then cheering them on the whole way through that, didn't know what to expect. Here they come out. We get the point at home, and then we go away on a noon on a Wednesday in a waterlogged pitch. Game probably should have been called off from what I saw of the game, but they played it. It was to their advantage. Now, I think the weather in South Florida now, where we're going to be in Naples, is going to be hot, humid. It's going to have an effect on both teams, but I think Naples we train in it every day, so they're going to have a better feel for what it's going to take. We're home. Hopefully, we can get a good crowd out there. Cheer them on. I think that Naples can take them. I wasn't impressed with the playing surface from that game in Chattanooga, and again a Wednesday at noon. Okay, great. It just seems like they set it up to play to the home team, and then here we are. So come on down Saturday night, and I am going to admit I did a terrible job of organizing the travel for this one. Yeah, we don't come back home till Sunday. So let's get an extra day. Didn't look at the schedule. Yeah, totally messed that one up. But we will be watching. I'll make sure I get a local six pack here from one of the local breweries. I'll be sitting on the couch, ESPN Plus on. We will be watching from the mountains of North Carolina, and I will be cheering as loud as I can. And but yeah, no, I think bringing it back home, I think Ian said after the game when we were down by the edge of the bleachers and the team came and he said something like, "Now let's get ready to beat Chattanooga on Saturday." And one of the players turned around and he was like, "Oh yeah, it's on." And I don't remember his exact words, and they may have been a little more spicy than that, but yeah, they were already ready for that game. So I think it left a mark, and I'm confident that the defending that we did in Clemson against Greenville will bleed over to that game. Well drilled, well organized, um, and I think we've got what it takes to beat them.
Yeah, we talk a lot about in sports kind of the look ahead games, and really that's something we didn't even talk about in the recap of how this Greenville was kind of in the way of us playing Chattanooga. So really to get a point and move on, when some of the focus was probably towards Saturday and the excitement of that upcoming back at home. Uh, what what message would you have? If you could talk to the manager here, uh, Coach Poland here, what would you say about kind of the discipline and not kind of walking the fine line of being the agitators, not taking any stupid cards, or is this one that the gloves are off and we'll face the discipline for the upcoming match if needed?
Yeah, I think we want to play smart and not try to be the agitators. But also, I think we've done such a good job of being the agitators all season, no matter who we play. But yeah, just being smart, keeping our heads up, not stooping to their level. And we know our game's good enough to beat them. At least it should be. And taking our game to them all game, not trying to give into their little tricks or whatever they want to try to do. Just going out there and playing our game and beating them. That's what we got to do.
I would agree. I think we've got to keep it clean. I looked at the after we watched the. I'm going to put my hockey reference in here and watching the Panthers play Edmonton there in the last game. Edmonton really went after them and it got dirty, it got cheap, and Florida kept it clean and just did their thing. I think if if we can do the same thing as that, and we can look at that and go, let's keep out of the away from the yellows. They're going to get called on. They're going to want to bring something to it. They're going to want to bring those yellows, those fouls in. That's possibly going to get them a yellow. Let, 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 let them take it. Let them take it. Let's frustrate them. Defend the way we know we can defend. They're going to get frustrated, and with that frustration will come some yellow cards. And I don't doubt that there's possibly going to be a red card, but let's make sure it's for them, not for us. Let's keep 11 players on the field, and let's take our game to them. They will get frustrated if we defend like we defended on this past Saturday night.
Yeah, I think you make a great point with that Oilers and Panthers. And I know everybody that listens to this is as diehard of sports fans as we are and was watching that game. That it almost felt that way at the end of the last match. That's kind of where we were. We were really instigating and going after their guys, almost like sending that message, which obviously got our guys sent off. And typically the next game, the team that went off the rails a little bit settles in and is far more disciplined. So that's for me looking. I mean, that you're right, Ian. We're the agitators. Like that's kind of what we do, and we're really good at it. And I imagine it won't be long until we're the team in the league nobody wants to play. Um, at first, it was because we were beating everybody, and now I think it's going to be because of our physical style. Um,
But just
so
like the
yeah, I think
Panthers too, I think we can be that team that agitates people just through our style of play and not necessarily
Mhm.
like cheap tricks. We can just
Correct.
be a really frustrating team to play against and make you take dumb fouls and dumb yellow cards and using our pace down the wings. And okay, if you want to stop us, you're going to have to foul us, and then you're going to get a yellow card. And how many times can you do that before you're getting someone sent off?
And I think the biggest thing that both teams really are going to have to keep in mind is I would imagine the ref, whoever it's going to be, God bless their soul, they're going to be in for a tough night Saturday. Regardless of how they do, it's going to be a challenge for them. And I think you're going to see a lot of yellows on things that fans are going to say that shouldn't be a yellow, um, as a crowd control method. What are your thoughts on
Yeah,
that, Ian?
yeah, I can see it going from, okay, we got to get the yellow card out early versus trying to, manage situations that sometimes you can kind of talk the player out of. But I think you're right. I think we'll see, early yellows, kind of that first hard foul, maybe simple, okay, yellow card, where, that might just be like a, hey, come on, what are we doing? Like almost like a talking to, if you can read the referee's lips there. But it'll be interesting to see how big the referee plays into this match. Compared to, are they going to let everything go, like have more of a game flow to it, or is every little shirt grab going to be called a foul? It's going to be interesting to see. I'm excited for it. Put the kids to
Yeah,
bed
I
early.
I think it's going to be something, that's an officiating tactic that's like a day one, right? You want to talk to the players first before you start inserting yourself in in soccer. Giving the card is so detrimental because now you got to play really cautiously next time a player is making a run. But I think both of these teams have, when they've played, have shown that the talking to does nothing. I don't have the number of yellows in the two games, but I imagine that there's been a lot of yellow cards to go on top of the five red cards in two matches between these two. Albeit, I think four or all five red cards have come in the stoppage time in the
Yeah.
second half. Um, if I was the betting man, I'm going to say there's going to be a PK in this one. I think somebody's going to take a foul in the box. Um, I think that's something that I'm anticipating. And hopefully, like you said, hopefully it's them that gets frustrated. The crowd's getting into the head. Our fan group is great. The drums, hopefully, and I think we saw some taunting last time of our fans when they scored that wonder goal. Uh, so yeah, very excited for Saturday. I am definitely going to be in the beer garden with you, Ian. And then the split allegiance will happen midway through the second half when the Panthers Oilers game resumes. So or starts. Really
Do
disappointed it's not a 7 o'clock kick.
No, I think it's got to be 7:30 given how hot it is now this time of year.
That That's true. So the phone will be on the Panthers game late in the second half, but you're right. This is just one of those games you can't miss.
No.
This is probably not to hype it up too much because sometimes in soccer it can be a letdown when you hype it up this much. Um, but to go so far as this is going to become the El Clasico of the USL League One, it can't be understated. Which is why I'm going to go a scoreline prediction of 3-2 Naples Saturday. I think we're going to get a big scoring effort from both sides here. I think a lot. I think both sides are going to take chances on both sides of the ball. I think the defenses are going to be aggressive, and with our pace, I think we could easily put up a three-piece in this one.
I really like it. Dad, you got a score line?
Yeah, actually, I do. I've been thinking this one. I was hoping you were going to go to the score lines and put this one in. So I'm going to give you my reasoning why I'm going to go to this scoreline and give you the scoreline. So I think if it's not our first game ever when we play them the first time, we probably beat them at home. They beat us at home. Okay, so I think we should be 1-1. And I think them coming to us, I think we'll play a very sensible game. I think we'll play a strategic game and really work it through. So, but I see as I see it being close. I think they're a good team, but I'm going to go 2-1 Naples, and Hendelong is definitely getting on the score sheet. And yeah, I'm going to go Kevin, KOC, Kevin O'Connor on the for the second one. I think the second one comes for us pretty late on, really fires up the crowd, and 2-1 Naples.
I like it. I'm going to go 2-0 Naples. I think we keep them off the score sheet altogether. I think we're going to do a really great job defending. Our center back duo has been the best in the league, in my opinion, and they're going to prove that again Saturday night. I think Henderlong gets one, and I'll go Farine with the other. Although I would love to see another Onan strike from outside the box.
Oh,
But yeah,
Onan picked up a red card. He is a lock to score Saturday. If you
that's a
can
great
find
point.
Onan anytime goal scorer for Saturday's match, I think that I think he is such an X factor for the team, and I think that he gets the opener for us. And something tells me that there is going to be some taunting uh, at the conclusion of his opener Saturday night.
I love it.
He's gonna let the Red Wolves know what he's about.
And don't forget, Delgado was also sent off against them, so that's another reason why I'm going clean sheet. It's in the stars. These guys are going to get their revenge. It's going to be sweet at home, under the lights at Paradise Coast Sports Complex, while we're sipping FC Naples Blonde. It's going to be great. Dad, any final thoughts before we go?
Just thanks for having me on. It's a real honor. Really proud to be able to join you guys. I subscribe. I listen. I might be a future sponsor here as well. Who knows who needs some dirt moved, but no, real pleasure, and a shout out to Ian for getting the tickets for the away day and making that out. Real highlight of the trip for me to be there with the boys to support the FC Naples boys. Thanks for having me on. Hopefully you'll your listenership will go up, not down. If it does, and you won't have to have me on again. But a real pleasure to be on with you guys, and I'll keep working my sponsorship with Diet Coke and Adidas to get them on board.
If you get either of those, you'll be welcome anytime. Twice on Sundays,
Yes.
for sure. Um, yeah, awesome having you on here. Love going to the games with you guys. So great being able to do it in this way, talking. For people that don't know us, it really this is just what we've done. For me, 26, 27 years. Ian, you one additional year to that. Just
Yeah.
talking sports, but final thoughts for me is the Red Wolves are on our heels, and they don't like us. We don't like them, and we talk about statement wins. This would be a statement win, and I think the boys are excited to give it their all Saturday, like they do every week. And um, I'm thinking we'll be celebrating at the little bar right outside the stadium Saturday night.
Yeah, can't wait for that. And to anyone listening to this, thinking like, wow, these guys seem to all be on the same page. This is like a live show. Like we do this show live every Saturday when we're all in the beer garden together, um, all the time. So it's always fun. Thank you, Dad, for hopping on with us here in our cabin in North Carolina. And Paul, thank you as always for joining us. That's going to do it for this episode. Thank you all so much for listening. Please get in touch with the show. Let us know what you like to hear. If you hate it, let us know that too, or don't. We don't care. But yeah, thank you all so much for listening, and we will see you soon. Come on, Naples.